Hey, everybody, welcome back to Still Learning Life Lessons and the Line, where we talk about being first responders. We talk about health and wellness, life in general, and then some BS to fill in the gaps. I'm your host, Amber, and I am super excited. I am literally fangirling over here with the little celebrity that we've got as our guest today. Joe, you
Ridiculous.
want to you want to tell us who you are, what you do? Give me like a little Reader's Digest condensed version of your what you do.
Yeah. So, hello, Amber. Joe Smarro, not a celebrity, and kid from upstate New York. Graduated high school, joined the Marine Corps right out of high school. Did 2 combat tours. Got out of the Marine Corps, moved to South Texas, where I'm still at in San Antonio. Got on the San Antonio Police Department. Spent 15 years with them. My last 11 were full time on a mental health unit. And then my last couple of years, we're doing a lot of officer wellness and helping out, hospitalizing our own officers that were struggling with suicide, depression, whatever it was. And then I started a company in 2017 with Jesse. And then I decided to voluntarily resign from the police department in 2020. And now we are coming up on our 6th year of cutting the safety net and being in business full time. And the company is SolutionPoint Plus, and we provide a lot of different training, but basically we operate at the intersection of public safety and behavioral health care and provide de-escalation training as well as wellness, resiliency, suicide prevention. So, and training for dispatchers, call takers, telecommunicators. And yeah, I mean, that's a little bit about me, high level, and happy to go as deep as we want to go and the time we've got, Amber.
I was taking a um, like a 16-hour course, crisis intervention course through Solution Point Plus, and I loved it because previously, when I worked in another state, I also did coaching for CIT and absolutely loved it. So when I was like, "Oh, here's another company. What's this all about?" So I did my research um, on on Solution Point Plus, on you, Jesse, that sort of thing, and I just learned all that I possibly could, and have been following you guys, following the company ever since. Um, and just so you guys know, I'm here in Iowa. He is in Texas. He does not like the Iowa winters. Okay,
Fact.
yes, Joe is not a fan.
Not a fan.
No,
That's why I
not a
did not
fan.
move back to New York after the Marine Corps. Yeah, I'm not a fan of I like to visit the snow, but I like to leave the next day or maybe 2 days later. But to like full time it, it's to me, it's voluntarily torture. I just don't understand why people do it.
Well,
Not
and
me.
some of us, it's all we know.
Yeah,
I mean, as much as we complain about the snow and the cold and whatever, if I were to live somewhere else, I think I would I think I would miss, like, around Christmas time, I'd be like, "Where's the snow?" You
yeah,
know? But I'm still gonna complain about it because that's what we do.
that's what you do. Yeah, I'm
That's
very
what we
aware.
do.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, going back to when you were with San Antonio Police Department, um, when you started with the mental health unit there, was there anything that um, surprised you as far as, I mean, as an officer, I'm sure you went on these calls anyway. You talked with the people, that were dealing with mental health issues and that sort of thing. Was there anything that surprised you with the mental health unit, or was everything just kind of, the same as what you're used to? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, actually. So, two pretty big surprises. So, the first was to your point, and you're spot on. Of course, as a patrol officer, I had dealt with plenty of mental health calls. The thing that's different is as a patrol officer, and there's pros and cons to it, but you get a mental health call a day, maybe every other day. But you go from a mental health call to a loud disturbance to a pursuit to a robbery to domestic violence to like, so it's just all over the map. And when I went to the mental health unit, something I didn't really think about until it happened was, oh, 100% of my calls are mental health calls, and not just like standard routine mental health calls. These are like very, very complex sick people because now, as a patrol officer, you have like your district, but as the
Mhm.
mental health unit, we had the entire city. So I basically went from, a small area to now an entire seventh largest city in the country. And so we were sent on the most complex calls. I will tell you the first couple months, I thought I made a huge mistake. Like I was really stressed. I was sleeping terribly. I was actually having nightmares about the calls. Like I just could not regulate that first few months while I was trying to adjust. And I had some very, very difficult calls in that first 2 weeks, even of just, I mean, horrible stuff. Like, and again, I had seen it on patrol, but it was like spread out over the period of 6, 7 months. Now it's like two in a day, five in a day. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again the next
Mhm.
day. And that first couple weeks was really, really hard on the system, and probably wasn't properly trained or prepared to deal with the psychological aspect of that. The second biggest surprise to me was, and this was probably after a couple years in the unit. So now we found our footing. We're doing good. We're grinding. It's all good. We've stabilized. We found our jam. And I get to work one day, and the lieutenant's like, "Hey, we need you to go to this house. It's an SAPD officer, but apparently he sent a text that he's going to kill himself." And I was like, "Whoa! Like, no, no, no! Like, we don't do that. Like, we're a mental health unit for the community." And the lieutenant was like, "No, you're not. Like, go do your job. It's a mental health call. The guy's in crisis. Like, he's saying he's going to kill himself. Go do your job." I remember being so terrified because in my mind it was like, this is a whole different way of doing business. Like this is such a different aspect. Like I'm not trained in this. I'm not a therapist. All these thoughts are coming up. And I remember quickly realizing like, oh wait, like this is no different than handling a regular call in the community. Just because they're a fellow police officer changes nothing. And then I got really good at that. Then that became my passion of like, oh, that's really
Mhm.
what I want to focus on is
Yep.
helping our own, because I would love it when I would walk in and they would freak out, be like, "Oh, hell no, Joe, get out of here. I know what you represent. You're going to ruin my career." They throw stuff at me. And
Mhm.
I would just kind of smile. And I'm like, what's really interesting to me about your statement? And they're like, "What?" I'm all calm and smiley. And I'm like, "The fact that I'm here is because I've got news that you sent this suicide message. You said your goodbyes. You did all this is the information I have. But as soon as you saw me, the first thing was, you're going to ruin my career, which tells me you don't actually want to kill yourself, which is great news. So let's get you help." And and I just got really good about like cutting through the shit real fast with them. Or
Uh-huh.
I would have them challenge me right away and they'd be like, "Oh, Joe, don't even try that crap with me. You've trained us in all the CIT stuff. I already know all the stuff you're going to say. I already know what you're going to do." I'm like, awesome. That saves me all kinds of time. We don't have to build rapport. I don't have to use the skills. Like, let's just cut to the chase then. Here's why I'm here. Here's what I know. And now you either have to justify this, defend it, deny it, lie to me, but you now have the information I have. Let's get you help. And I like the challenging complexity of it, but also the reward of knowing that I'm intervening from, one of our fellow officers. Cause again, we're a large department. We got 2,460 cops. So we had, in an 18-month period, we had 3 suicides where we didn't have information. No one made the outcry. And so that was tough. And then in 2021, we had 6 suicides. I was already gone. I am not saying it has anything to do with me leaving, but just showing you how rampant the problem is. And we had six
Uh-huh.
suicides just in our own agency in 2021. So, the problem is real, and it's become my passion of how can we find a way, and this is one of our efforts through the training because it's preventative, it's proactive, but how can we give the officers necessary tools and skills to better manage their minds so that when they know they're feeling stressed, depressed, sad, suicidal, they will actually do the most courageous thing and ask for help.
Mhm. That's awesome. And I kinda had to giggle a little bit when you made your comment about when you walk in and, "Oh, no, I know what you're here for. Oh, no," kind of a thing. And I have been on a critical incident stress debriefing team for quite a while now, and whenever we schedule those and people are like, "Nah, I'm good. I already no, no." And my way of getting them to go is by saying, "Okay, if you're not gonna do it for you, do it for somebody else." because somebody else might need pieces of the puzzle for it to make sense in their head of what all happened, you
Yeah,
know? And a lot of times, and that's why you and I, we do this, we go, we speak, and we talk to people, we make ourselves available because it's for somebody else. And in turn, I feel like it helps me as well. You know what I
100%.
mean?
Yeah.
It helps me process things as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I tell people I selfishly still now almost 15 years later go to therapy, and it's
mhm,
100% for me, but it's also for everyone else because it makes me a better speaker, a better trainer.
mhm,
It makes me smarter about understanding how I operate, which again, I'm not a unicorn or a celebrity. And so it's like the better I understand myself, for sure, the better I understand other people because I really think that we're all so similar. We
mhm,
just focus hard on the differences, but I really think that we have far more in common than we realize.
mhm. What was your motivation to start Solution Point Plus? To take what you were doing on the side per se, and then just say, you know what? Let's just go all in. Let's do this.
Yeah, so I in San Antonio, we got a lot of press and media even before the documentary came out. There were people from all over the country that would come, elected officials, judges, chiefs, sheriffs, politicians, and they would come do a tour of our facilities. And our facilities was our local mental health authority, which we had like a medical triage. We had a drop off center for people that had mental health, a sobering and detox center. And then right across the street was a first of its kind, state of the art homeless transformational center. And so it was like, how is all of this working together? And we would have this like big round table in a conference room. And I would always get invited to go speak on behalf of the police department of like, where does law enforcement fit into this system? And so I would speak on our role and like how we get the patients, what we do with them, how we determine who goes where and does what. And I mean, like no embellishment, probably 30 to 50 times after one of those meetings, somebody would come up and be like, Joe, you should really think about starting a business. And I was like, not going to happen. Like, I'm a knuckle dragon Marine cop, pretty stupid guy. I don't know anything about business. Like, there's no world that's going to happen. And they're like, look, man, you're super passionate about it. You can articulate all of this stuff really well. You understand it from like a system standpoint. Like, you really could consult and help a lot of people out. And I just refused for probably 2 years, and I just heard it over and over and over, and then I was talking to one of my buddies from the Marine Corps, we call him Walking Bush, shout out to Raugi, and, he's very hairy, but, so I was talking to him one day, just catching up, and I was sharing that story, and he was like, "Oh, bro, have you heard of EBV?" And that's like a direct quote, and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "EBV, bro, EBV," and I'm like, "Dude, slow down, like, I know you're excited, and you eat your words when you're excited, but, like, what are you saying?" And he said, EBV, the Entrepreneurship Bootcamp for Veterans. And I was like, no, I've never heard of this. And he's like, dude, it's a free program out of Syracuse, but it's at Florida State, Texas A&M, Cornell, UCLA, Missouri. A lot of these universities partner, and it's free for veterans if you want to start a business. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So
Huh.
I looked it up, applied, got in at Texas A&M, and it's basically like a 38-day MBA, and I left there on fire. And that was in 2016. And then I left there like believing I could start a business, and then started in January of 2017. And that's it. We've been in business now 9 years, and I give a lot of credit to Texas A&M and Syracuse for giving us the business acumen and the confidence that we could do this. And then as far as leaving the department, I was just miserable. Honestly, the
Uh-huh.
documentary like wrecked my career. The chief has a pretty large ego, believe it or not, and even though it was 3 years of filming, no surprises, she had permission to do it. He denied all of her requests to interview him. When it came out and it was called Ernie and Joe Crisis Cops, he got his
Uh-huh.
feelings hurt that he wasn't in it, that it wasn't about him. And when it started winning awards and won an Emmy, it was game over. Like
Uh-huh.
he ordered his command staff not to support it. Any request for me to speak that came into the department got denied. And so I was essentially punished. And my therapist, after 18 months of fighting this, she was like, how long are you going to come to these appointments and just bitch about work?" And I was like, "Oh, forever, like for the rest of my time." And she was like, "That's not happening." And so she pushed me to resign, and I was terrified because I pay child support, I got health insurance, I've got 4 kids, like, I couldn't just walk away, and she was like, "Yeah, but you have your business." And I was like, "Yeah, but we don't make any money, like, it's a side hustle, we're not crushing it." And she's like, "Right, because it's a side hustle. Like, quit your job, focus on Solution Point Plus, watch what happens." And damn if she wasn't right. And so, yeah, it's been, we're super fortunate, super blessed, but to still be grinding here now, coming up on 6 years. But it's been hard. It's been fun. It's been a great challenge, but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Mhm. That's awesome. And, that is actually I was gonna bring it up your documentary as well, Crisis Cops. Um, I've seen that as well, and I guess I'm not sure where you can see it now. It was on HBO for a
Only on
while.
YouTube. Yep, it's on YouTube
It's
right
only
now.
on YouTube?
Yep.
Okay, alright. So yeah, if you have not seen it, you must see it. It is it is a real hard look at what officers see on the streets and what, first responders deal with on the streets. It is really a hard look, at all of that. So yeah, it's a powerful documentary. I love it. And um also your book. I would have your book in front of me, but I loaned it to somebody and
I
they haven't
got you.
returned it. Look! There it is. Yes, I loaned it. So I'm gonna have to buy a new copy because I thought when I loaned it out, I was gonna get it back at some point, but I don't. I
No.
don't have it back. So yeah. Um, so tell us about Unarmed because for me, um, Unarmed was very much like people are people first. Like that is essentially what it is. And it's about compassion, empathy for others, but also having it for yourself. Cause that to me is like a huge thing that we we don't show ourselves enough compassion in our lives, you know? Um, but I just love the people first aspect, and we're included in that. You know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
was the big takeaway for me. So tell us about your book. What made you decide to write it?
Yeah. So, a couple things. One is I had a mentor tell me that as a business owner, I should write a book. And I was like, I don't really want to. And he's like, look, man, it's not about being an author, but a book is an oversized business card and it gets you in more rooms. It's instant credibility. And I was like, all right, cool. So then that happened and I still was sitting on it. But the bigger thing was so many agencies have reached out to us for training, but it's almost as if they don't understand how business works. Meaning, they're like, "Hey, Joe, we're super interested. Can you bring your training to this agency?" Yes. I'm like, "All right. So when can you do it?" And I'm like, well, let me look at the calendar." And they're like, "All right, cool. Let us know the dates." I'm like, "All right. There's a process for this. So, like, do you want us to submit a proposal or, like, we don't put it on the calendar until we have a contract?" And they're like, "Oh no, no, we don't have a budget." So I'm like, "Oh, you just want me to give it to you?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, that's not how this works." Now, I will be honest, and I'm very selective in how I do this, but I do donate training every single year. In fact, I've got one coming up in Massachusetts in 3 weeks that I'm giving them it's a $15,000 training that I'm just gifting to them for free, plus books, plus everything. Because I just chose them from one of the keynotes I gave, and they showed interest, and they had a recent suicide, and so this is my give back. And I do this a few times a year. But the thing that bothered me was I have individually motivated first responders that know that they want the information, but the department can't pay for it. So then it was like, here, look, if your department can't afford the training, totally makes sense. They don't prioritize budgets. They're going to buy you new guns and you'll get a huge ammo budget every year. But to give you the skills to not want to kill yourself, like that's an afterthought. A lot of departments would rather put money in the coffers and insurance and pay liabilities and lawsuits than prevention and being proactive, which is really sad. So the book is a $20 option that you can spend to make the investment because so half of the book is directly out of our training. So there's like the awareness piece, the active listening components in there. There's a suicide chapter in there, and then there's the wellness, the 6 pillars of self care chapter, and that's directly out of our training modules. I basically just did a voice to text, then gave it to editors and they turned it into a book format. But for me, if you go through the training, the book is great as a resource or as a refresher. If you can't go through the training, the book is a great resource as an introduction into the training. It gives you the core elements of the skills you need to be a better communicator, to be better at effectively de escalating people without using force. So, that to me is why this book exists. And then honestly, like, I realize that my story is heavy and traumatic and sad and heavy as it is, that a lot of people resonate with it. And so when I'm giving my keynotes or whatever and I share it, people are always moved by it. And so I made sure to include portions of that in there just so people can still experience it and realize that, like, look, even as a labeled alpha male, as a combat decorated Marine, as a big city copper, as a dude, I have feelings and I have emotions and I suck at life sometimes and I do really dumb things to sabotage myself, and I struggled with pornography for years, and I've messed up every one of my marriages. I married the same woman twice. I've cheated in every relationship because I'm so convinced that my partner is not going to stay with me, and so I try to, like, cut it off at the head by protecting myself, by ruining the relationship, and it makes complete sense in my mind, but it doesn't make sense to the person I'm with. And so all of the work that I've done, I want to give people access to it, hopefully, so that they don't have to repeat my mistakes, so that they
Mhm.
can learn before it's too late, before they hurt people, before they break up their families, and they can use me as a guide, or just a mentor, to hopefully prevent someone from going down the same path. And it's the same thing I tell my kids. I'm like, look, I'm not proud of the things I've done, but I hope that I've made enough mistakes visibly that you all can see, so that you
Mhm.
don't want to follow my footsteps. Like, I want you to follow my footsteps when it comes to how I work, how I treat people, um, and like how much I love. Like, I'm just that's all I want on my tombstone is Joseph Smarro, 1981 to whenever I die, and the word love. Not dedicated this, that, all these words, just love. Like, that's all I want to be known for. And
Mhm.
like, that's what I want my kids to take. But also, I don't want to hide from them all the poor choices I made, because it's real and it's human. And like, I had a very different life than they did. And so I want to teach them as they're older now, the youngest one being 14, the oldest one 18, of my boys. My daughter's 26. It's wild. Um, and I just apologize to her and tell her, like, sorry, like, it was, you never had a chance, just because, she was born when I was in high school. But yeah, so that's really what the book is an extension of my life to give people a glimpse into it, to hopefully learn lessons from it while learning and developing their own skill set so they can have confidence to do their jobs better.
Mhm. Mhm. And it's funny, you mentioning the ages of your boys, because I've got 3 daughters who are 14, will be 16 in a couple of days, and then 17, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like right in line there. But that's the thing is I always tell them, I'm like, because they'll be like, "Well, you did this," or "You were my age once." Yeah, exactly. But I want you to be better than me. I
Right.
want you to be better than what I did, kind of
Yep.
a thing. Better humans, um, not delay life because of making mistakes, things like that, whatever. I want you to be better than me. And so hopefully we can give them those tools as they go out on the world.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing your 26-year-old daughter, I think she's learned a lot of lessons from you. So,
Funny story. So I saw one of her, this has been like 4 or 5 years. I was on the road in a hotel and I just see one of her Instagram stories, and it was some like, nobody will love me the way, like, it was clearly a call for love.
mhm,
And so I see it and I assume she's going through a breakup or something's going on. And so I just sent her a text, and I just said, "Hey, Lex, I just want you to know that I'm very sorry that I was never the father that you needed me to be while you were growing up. And you see me being a very different father to the boys now, because as we know better, we do better, hopefully. And I just want you to know that because of my shortcomings of being the father you needed me to be and deserved, my fear is that you're going to settle for someone not deserving of you, um, because we never had that relationship when you were younger." She texts me back and says, "Dad, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, it doesn't seem like you are." And she's like, "No, promise me you're okay." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I FaceTime her, and she's like clearly freaked out. And I'm like, what is happening? She's like, oh my God. Like, Dad, I thought you were going to kill yourself. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Lex, I saw your post that you were clearly going through something. I'm just reaching out to you and I'm telling you that I'm sorry that I wasn't who you needed me to be. But because of the disconnection, right? Like she's like, "Oh
Mhm.
my god, my dad's gonna kill himself." And I was like, "This is just a classic example of how much I failed you." And we had a good laugh about it. Not that suicide's
Mhm.
funny, but that she was just so far off. But it was
Right.
like, this is proof that I never was the father you needed me to be. And now I'm seeing how you're broken partner picker here and you're settling for people because there's some disconnect between me and you. And so I see how this plays out. Again, been there, done that with women that don't like their dads, and I don't want that to be you. And so like I don't think it's ever too late to foster that. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're worthy. I love you. I don't want you settling for someone just because you don't think your dad loves you. And so yeah, we're in a much better place now, but when she was born, I was a kid. I was 17 years old, my senior year of high school. And so like, and then I joined the Marine Corps, then I was deployed to war. So it was just a mess. For all her formative years, I was just not around.
Mhm. Mhm. That's actually kinda cool funny story, and I had sent my daughters we have a, group text, whatever, and I had sent them one night because there was something I'd heard on the news that just kinda got me kinda going emotionally, so I just sent the girls a text saying, "Hey, no matter what and all that happens, just remember that I love you." And one of them sent back, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I just want you to know I love you. It's o" you
Yeah.
know?
Like
It's
freaks
a
them out. Yeah.
parent-child thing. I just want you to know. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And, um, the thing is too, uh, going back to your book, I love that you say it's like training in a book. It's a refresher for those of us who have, taken the training before. Because actually, oddly enough, because it came out March 24,
Yep.
I think, somewhere okay, and about that time is when I had taken the Solution Point Plus, and so I saw that there's a book, whatever, and I read it, and there's nuggets that you pick up that I didn't pick up in the training, you
Right.
know? So I love that it's just kind of the training plus it's continuation of more.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that was
No,
the
I love
whole
that.
goal of it for sure. That was the hope, is just to be an extension of the training, or for those that can't go, to just be an introduction to it. But yeah.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Is there anything that you want to add? We're kind of wrapping up here. I kind of went through my questions that I wanted to touch with you and we talked about so much more. Anything that you want to add as far as my people? We're just, like I said, we're still learning as we go. That's why I love the title of this. It's just we're learning about life, we're learning lessons, and it's all about being a first responder because that's what I am, you know?
Yeah. No,
So
kudos to you, Amber, for putting yourself out there and doing this. Again, it is kind of the new media of 2026, and really just our generation. Podcasts are just exploding. And
mhm,
so good for you for even attempting this and putting it out there. And because your audience is predominantly first responders, again, I don't know y'all. Maybe I know some of y'all, but I love y'all. Big love. Even though I'm a has been now and I help the people that help the people, I truly admire and respect the ones that are doing this for all the right reasons. And anyone suffering in silence, just realize that the strongest thing, the most courageous thing you'll ever do is not like run towards the bullets. It's saying, I need a timeout. And
mhm,
um, you're worth it. Like chapter 7 of the book is called Worthy of Tomorrow. And yeah, suicide to me is the most preventable thing that we can do. And yet it's the greatest threat to our profession. And so I want to solve that. And so anytime I get a microphone, I make sure I at least acknowledge and mention that you are worthy, you are deserving, whatever you're going through can be, I'm not going to say fixed or changed or undone, but it can be survived,
mhm.
and you're deserving of it. And so don't give up. It can get better if you decide it to be better. And big love to y'all. And again, thank you, Amber, for sharing your audience with me.
Well, and I do wanna just add one last thing
Yeah.
before we close this out. If you guys have not, look up on YouTube his TED Talk. Um, what movie was it? Avatar?
Yeah.
What
I
movie
see
was
you.
that?
From Avatar,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, the I See You.
Yeah.
And I actually had not seen the movie, and so I just, like, kinda Googled that clip, but I love that because that's now kind of been something that sticks in my head ever since I saw your TED Talk, was the "I see you," you
Yep.
know? And I see you as a person, I see you hurting, I see you, there's so many things to that. Um
And I'm willing to be seen in return because that's the big part. It's not one-sided. I'm
Mhm,
not looking at you. You. I see beyond the surface, and
mhm,
I want you to see me in return, like, not as a threat, not as a position of authority, not as a celebrity, not as a like, I'm just a dude on this journey with you trying to figure it out and make the
mhm,
most of the time I'm given. Like, that's it. And I trust the
mhm,
same for you. And so it really, that's the emphasis of that. But yeah, all that. So if you just put my name in YouTube, a lot of stuff pops up for that. Of
mhm. I love that, I love that. Alright, well, once again, thank you, Joe. I appreciate
course.
this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, and on a side note, I'm still waiting for, SolutionPoint Plus to hire me to do some of their trainings, just saying.
You are. You are.
You don't have to come to Iowa ever again,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
You'd be, well, I'd say you'd be surprised, but maybe you wouldn't, of how many people in Iowa are like on the wait list to try to work for us. And I'm like, you guys realize if we hired all of you, Iowa would no longer hire us. Um, but but yeah, and that's been the challenge with even just a business is like building out a
Mhm,
bench that can maintain the workload we have, not having the bench too big, so then they get
mhm.
bored and leave. Like, so yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's fun, and you're definitely on the radar, Amber. Don't you worry.
Well, and that's one thing too, like, I've recently been doing some speakings, at, I was at in September, I did a Peer Support Foundation Wellness Conference here in Iowa, and I was chosen as a speaker for that, talking about my story, mental health, that sort of thing, and then, um, just doing some others around there, but for me, it's just getting out there, being seen,
Yep.
um, and saying, "I we're all the same. We exactly are all the same." And I love putting myself out there just to say, "Hey, I see you. I have issues. You have issues. We all are full of," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is.
Yep.
And I love that. So, all right. Well,
Kudos.
thank
Keep
you,
it up.
Joe.
Thank
I
you. Of
appreciate it.
course.
Um, and all right. And as far as everybody else, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you.